So you mentioned like the dietitian stuff helping with like disease and stuff like that. With just like COVID now, like one thing that I've heard and hasn't been like talked about a ton is just how your diet can help build your immune system and in turn kind of help fight off COVID and stuff like that. Is there anything that you're specifically trying to like focus on with nutrition that is either A, beneficial for lacrosse, and B, at the same time kind of beneficial for those other outside of lacrosse needs that you talked about?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that with COVID, obviously there's a lot of uncertainty and that can lead to stress. And I think when we're in these stressful situations and thinking negatively, that does have, unfortunately, a negative impact on our immune systems. And so before like getting into the diet aspect of it, I think one, it's trying to stay as stress-free as possible. Now, I'm not saying that you can't have, a little bit of stress. Like I said, it's normal to be stressed in uncertain situations, but it's how do you react to that? And so what I've been stressing a lot to girls who I'm talking to on Zooms is like, take the negatives that are going through your mind and turn them into positives. And that's a lot easier said than done. But for me, that's really helped because I think that obviously there's a lot of things that are going on in our country right now that seem extremely negative. But I think for me, it's been a really good learning experience for me. I've learned more about myself in the past 3 months than I have in the past few years. So I think that's just like one example of turning negatives into positives in order to help yourself stay stress-free, which will help build your immune system and not weaken it. And then with that being said, like your diet is also super, super important. And when we are stuck inside and we're not able to maybe exercise as much because we don't have our personal trainer who pushes us and we don't have access to a gym, it can be pretty hard. And we're just sitting around not doing much and eating whatever's in our sight. So it's definitely important to make sure that during this time we're taking the time to make sure that we're eating healthy and eating a good balance. I'm not saying that every meal has to be the healthiest meal ever, but make sure that you're taking your vitamins and having a well balanced meal and not always eating unhealthy, but making sure you're intaking the right nutrients in order to build that immune system.
Awesome.
That's awesome. It's interesting bring up like stress levels in terms of nutrition, obviously your overall health. I guess from your schooling standpoint, is there anything around like stress management in terms of like your overall health that they try to focus on for you to preach to somebody or for you to learn?
So in my classes right now, we haven't really touched on that, but I think that, like I said earlier, that's so important, and I don't think we realize how much of a toll that takes on our body. Like mental health is just as important, if not more important than physical health, and it does directly impact your physical health. So it is really important to make sure that we're managing our stress levels during these times and in general if we want to make sure if we want to stay healthy and live a healthy lifestyle.
So when did you start to realize how important nutrition and your diet could be? Like, was that during college? Was that after college? And when did you really start like diving deep into that and really, obviously, I'm guessing you feel very strongly about it yourself with yourself as an athlete?
Yeah, I mean, probably in college. I think that in high school I could eat whatever I want and not really see it impact me on the field. And I was like a twig, size of my pinky, so I didn't really understand how important it was. But when I got to college and continued to eat like that and like full transparency, like drink, it took a toll on my play, on my body. I gained so much weight, and so it was a pretty rude awakening for me. And it's something that I try and stress now too with the younger girls, that it just because you might not feel that whatever you're eating or what your diet is impacting you in the field, it is, and it's going to catch up to you one day. And so the earlier you start with those healthy habits, the better, especially when you do get to college. And if you want to step on the field right away and compete at that highest level, if you're implementing all of the right practices, especially within your diet, it'll help. So definitely a rude awakening for me when I got to college, but I was able to figure it out.